Mahal naman, ba't wala akong pagkain sa bahay? Ay, kumain ka din. Yeah? Kasi parang makabiyahin na naman ulit tayo, no? Oh, very good. Han fixar, vad heter den? Frysen. Oo, ay makakapagpalit. Hindi rin, pag kinapala rin, tapos. Hindi, ay baka, ay itulog yung trabaho mo. Magtrabaho ako. Siyempre, makatagal bawal yung sa trabaho. Hindi na ako doon tagal. Ako ay bawal sa akin yun. Bawal ba lang nagtawa? Pagod din ako sa ito ng mukha. Pagod ako sa akin. Pero Ado, positif mo. Ya, positif mo. Pagkanood na nga, pagkanood na kanina ni. Nabuhan na nada. Tinggatan ko sa tindara. Sa inanada yun. So, isa silang nag-comment. Kasi, wow ko, galing ka. Yung nayagan ni Lloyd. Oh, yung nayagan ni Lloyd. Ano nga ako? Nay. Hindi. Ang nangyari na agad sa Wele. Kung ganito, okay na si Wele.
Plastic niya. Ano pa, maharlika? Focus yata eh.
Låter du Josef göra den? Stenhårt. Gör inte det så hänger allt på hans händer. Ja, han ska också göra det. Då ställer han upp här.
Bakit? Baby ka tubo. Nandun na kaya ate yun ah.
Ja. Vad bra. Nu är vi hela kvällen nu, gumman. Var det plattan på?
Eller AI.
Oj. Oj, oj, oj. Jag tänkte på lakanet här som Gurra använde. Det kan ju vara så långt tillbaka. Det är ju tvättare. klar med tänderna Trisha? Ja, bra. Jag bara undrar om du ska ha tandkrämen eller? Ingat. Ha? Good. Good.
Ay, naku na si Do, you are, that's why I don't want you to massage me because you are like that. And then your massage is like so fast now. Okay, we make it again. Ay. Halika anak, halika, hindi kita marinig, halika. Ano yung tanong?
Hindi, gusto kami
Si anak, hindi kita marinig siya. Bigyan ka naman ng salita. Hindi kailan daw. Anong oras?
Tulugan ni Kisha
Pwede,
ba?
oo.
Nej, may siya ka mali.
Anong oras?
Hindi ayaw ba? Gusto rin ka pala po hindi
Aray! Eh! Here.
out the back.
Agad na lang yan. Ha? Halika na, ikaw nga ang magpasaya na. Si dati naman sobrang sakit. Halika na. The back. Pwede yun ito.
Mama na mo, pilit ko yun.
Okay yan. Up here, oh. Net.
The other side na. Stars by back na.
Ha?
Eh! Gusto nila ng gabi? Eh? Quezon City ay. Do you have the car? Eh, very ubit. We from the city, you will let me have the bilin. Oh, di ba yun? Balance. Hogel barat. Natin tuman. Kaya tubod sa ibig ko ano. Ibig mo. Ito na siya sa snacks. Ayun ba yung Skechers yun? Dinagdarin natin. Ha? Ayun po, yung Muna. Para i-stop ulitin.
What?
Kulit-kulit. Kulit-kulit. Oh. Trisha, isang lang. Ano? Ah? Ah. Trisha.
Not yet yun kasi have not been here kasi ay... Ha? Yeah, upo si Wilbring is pero tuloy. Si Wilbring ako, ito lang.
And as you just said, are you going to live forever, Elon? Are you going to live forever, Joe? Why aren't you giving the reunion?
Dealing with his money, he's about to become a trillionaire. With that money, you could save a few countries with that money. Is he going to? No. People have that much money. It's like, what do you think, we're going to live forever? Elon, come on.
Wait, so a few points, Joe. Less than 0.1% of Elon's total net worth is actual cash sitting in the bank. That's around 1 or 2 billion at most. The rest of it, meaning 99.9% of it, is pure stocks and ownership in his companies like SpaceX, Tesla, and others. Now, those companies have created over 160,000 direct jobs, over 600,000 indirect jobs through their supply chains, and well over 500,000 more induced jobs from broader economic activity. So if we do the math, at least 1 million people globally are able to put bread on their table thanks to the jobs that Elon's companies created. Now, on the other hand, you, Joe, you are worth $30 million. And like Elon, you haven't created any jobs. You're not a founder or owner of a scalable company. And so most of it, if not all of your $30 million, is actual money ready to be spent. $30 million, that is generational wealth. And as you just said, are you going to live forever, Elon? Are you going to live forever, Joy? Why aren't you giving away your money? And as you just said, are you...
Nee, anything here about the next one was... Anything wrong?
Hello, Sir, how can I help you?
One of your neighbors called us, said they heard some yelling, some sounds of a fight, thought there might have been some kind of altercation going on.
It must have been a mistake, 'cause everything's fine here.
Something like this, what?
Yeah, I don't know who would have told you, but everything's fine.
Yeah, which means something in danger.
Hey, babe, everything okay?
Officer, what's going on?
We just had some reports about some cars being broken into in the neighborhood. I just wanted to check and see if you folks might have seen or heard anything.
Oh, man, that's terrible.
Yeah, I was just saying that we didn't hear anything.
Yeah, well,
Thank you for your time.
of course. You have a good one, officer.
Oh, I just need you to sign this right here. Prove I did a thorough canvas.
I get you're scared of what he'll do if you report him. But you need to think about what he's going to do if you don't. Don't be afraid to run. Be afraid to stay. What do you mean now?
Hello, officer.
Oh, what do you mean?
He says his throat hurts.
That phrasing means you think it does.
No, I don't.
Not for me.
Where are you going?
There's no best. Get yourself a supper on the way out.
Look, I'm just faking this makes it closer.
You know it's a true officer.
When this girl asked Eddie Hall to hit the punching bag, she had no idea what was going to happen. He agreed to accept the challenge for this girl. After he expected Eddie Hall to go all out, but at first he started out with just a casual battle. And even after scoring 962, Eddie Hall hadn't even used his full power. So he stepped up for a second attempt. Everyone around him started recording. And even after adding a little more power and scoring 980, it still wasn't enough. Eddie Hall was determined to break the record of 999, so he stepped up for a third attempt. But even then, he fell short with a score of 995. Eddie wasn't done yet. For his final attempt, he was ready to use every ounce of strength he had. When this girl asked Eddie Hall to
Entonces, que usted lo pone así.
You don't have anything to worry about. Come in, work.
No, sir.
So look at that. Music.
I know you think you're the class clown, but I'm fed with you. That's what we always say.
And your clowning makes it impossible. You promised never to make any more silly noises ever again.
Oh, sorry, what did you say?
Said you can't help it.
Making excuses is not going to help.
Brad, let's go. Question. Let's go.
Why am I sabotaging myself?
That's that.
Let's go to the principal's office. What do you think of someone's
Sorry, it's true.
Answer my question. What's a school for? Educate, isn't it? Use knowledge to wipe out ignorance. Schools are orchestras in our country this afternoon, you know?
No, sir. I take some role in the music.
I want you to be there. Everybody just keep your seats for a minute, please. Did you hear any noises during the quiet parts? That's so did I. The person making those noises, Brad Cohen. Come on up here, Brad. You like making noises that upsetting people, Brad?
No, sir.
And why do you do it?
Because
we do? And I mean everyone in this school. What can we do to help them?
I just want to be treated like everybody else.
Scientists have a list of places they won't discuss. These are on it. 1. Sakurajima volcano, Japan. Lightning strikes inside the ash cloud. Hundreds of bolts per minute. Scientists say static electricity, but the bolts form perfect circles. Lightning doesn't do circles. 2. Penitentious, Chile. Ice spikes taller than a person, perfectly aligned, like a frozen army. They form only here, only at this altitude. The physics is still debated. 3. Angel Falls, Venezuela. Water drops 979 meters, so high it turns to mist before hitting the ground. The mountain feeds the falls, but no one knows where the water comes from. 4. Alabama Lake, Pakistan. A lake born in 10 minutes. A landslide blocked a river. 2 villages were swallowed. The water is turquoise and freezing and hides a secret under the surface. 5. Cave of Swallows, Mexico. A hole in the ground, 333 meters deep. Thousands of birds spiral inside every morning for no known reason. They just 6. Singing Dunes, Kazakhstan. When the wind blows here, the sand hums, a low, loud sound, like a pipe organ buried underground. Scientists recorded it.
Look at this. Very cute. They are in the restaurant. Okay, yeah. Oh, and then see with it. In the buffet. Yeah, kasi if you use like you seriously using the Coca-Cola. You are thinking about the blood name. How about that same will return that in the restaurant? It's not fake, there is part 1 and part 2.
They don't know why. 7. Socotra Island, Yemen. Dragon blood trees. They look like umbrellas from an alien planet. They exist nowhere else on Earth. Why only here? Only you want to see with your own eyes. Scientists have a list of...
Even Joe Rogan would be speechless.
You see the video, it's nuts.
I'm so tired of women whining. Literally, the men fund our leagues and people still whine that we don't get paid enough. And honestly, when athletes do shit like this, it makes all of us look bad. Because instead of being thankful for the league that we have, we go out and whine.
Should the women footballers get the same as the men?
Yeah, it probably makes sense.
Even if they're not keeping anything out of the revenue.
It's not going to change. It's not going to change unless they organise. That's actually true across every sector. If we want to pay rise, joining a union fight for
Let me ask you this. On talent alone, for example, as a yards, the US women's football team were beaten by a group of under 15 boys from Texas, who were very good under 15 boys, but the under 15 boys team beaten, I think, 8-9-0 or something. So why should women footballers, who are clearly nowhere near as good as their male counterparts, just technically, why should they get paid anything like that much money?
Well, I mean,
Even Joe Rogan would be speechless.
But in fact, listen to this. The reality is that most of us were lied to by the media about President Trump. And if you just go back to the source material, you should.
Oh my God, are you going to allow us to have a second round question? No, listen. What are you trying to cover up? There is no cover up, and Mr. Diaz over here will be allowed to press. proves why I cross-examine her about her purchase.
Senator Kennedy,
I'm still.
my question, and you can act on your request.
And I think
Senator
we
Kennedy.
have a second place.
Senator Kennedy.
And I am appealing the ruling of the. Oh my God. Are you going to allow us to have a second round?
What is your name, sir?
I'm Moore.
More what?
Moore Ilderson.
Where are you from?
I'm from Tays Valley, West Virginia.
Excuse me, where's the kung fu?
Where's the kung fu?
Right, where's the kung fu?
Someone's got some too.
Jeez, come on. Hi, mate. What are you doing? Yeah.
I absolutely love cooking. Don't y'all? I feel like once everything just tastes and it's hydrated, it just feels good, electrolytes, just makes it.
How much did you pay for it? $1,500.
You paid $1,500 for this?
Watch Chun-Li's reaction when this man tries to sell him an old mandolin, but what the expert revealed leaves everyone in shock.
They have a Gibson mandolin.
Seller explained that he brought in a vintage Gibson mandolin, one of the rarest and most valuable instruments in American history. Mentioned that he got it at a yard sale, and he thinks he can make some money off it.
Well, let me talk about some. Hey, Rick! Corey, Rick! I guess no one's here.
Chun-Li said that Rick hates big buys me without, but he also hates losing out on easy money. So Chun-Li decides to take the risk.
What are you trying to get for it?
Well, I'd like to get $3,000 out if I could.
Would you be willing to go any less?
After a long negotiation, Chun-Li said,
15 sounds fair. I can make it
15? Alright, that sounds good. I appreciate it.
to verify the man, Chun-Li visits an app.
How much did you pay?
$1,500.
You paid $1,500 for this?
Watch Chun-Li's reaction when this man tries to sell him an old mandolin, but what the expert revealed leaves everyone in shock.
Have you ever seen that video?
No.
Pull that video up, because it's one of my favorite.
When you look at the legend of Noah's Ark and the flood, I'm not suggesting that there was a flood that covered every mountain on Earth, and nor am I suggesting that there was a boat that housed every species of animal on Earth. However, if Noah's Ark existed, many believe that it was crashed onto Mount Ararat, which is also in Turkey. And something fascinating is that in the Bible, in Genesis 8:20, is that he was said to have constructed an altar to the Lord where he sacrificed some of every clean animal and some of every clean bird. Göbekli Tepe is in Turkey, and every single one of those pillars annotates animals. And some have suggested that it could be Noah's altar. That could be one reason why they won't want to excavate it, is because Turkey is an Islamic country. If there was some Christian religious belief that was corroborated, they might not want that to happen.
Have you ever seen that video?
No.
Do you think this is just an ordinary bridge? You couldn't be more wrong. It's the tallest bridge in the world, and it hides a secret that has amazed people worldwide. The Huajiang Canyon Bridge in Guizhou spans a vast abyss known as the Earth's Crack. Its deck rises 625 meters above the river, like a 200-story building, taller than 2 Eiffel Towers stacked together. But its most impressive feature isn't its height, but what's inside. During construction, karst groundwater was found. Instead of diverting it, engineers turned it into a 300-meter artificial waterfall on both sides of the bridge. By day, it looks like a silver river falling from the sky. At night, with lights, it becomes a stunning visual show. Inside is a 1,314 square meter glass observation hall with breathtaking canyon views. For thrill seekers, there's the world's highest bungee jump, a 625-meter freefall. What was a 2-hour journey now takes just 2 minutes. It's not just a bridge, it's engineering pushed to the limit. Do you think this is just an ordinary bridge? You couldn't be more wrong. It's the tallest bridge in the world, and it hides a secret that has amazed people worldwide. The Huajiang Canyon Bridge in Guizhou spans a vast...
En tidigare förskolerektor påtalas för att köpa utslagare för nästan 1,2 miljoner kronor. Men förskolans pengar. Enligt åtalet köptes bland annat 120 designlampor och en lamin och fåtöljer värda 25 000 kronor. Men istället för att hamna på förskolan ska möblerna få förvaras hemma hos rektorn. En del ska också ha sålts vidare på...
There are places on Earth where science simply fails. No theories, no explanations, just mystery. 1. Lake Karachay, Russia. It looks peaceful, but 1 hour on its shore, and you're dead. Why is it so toxic? Science has no natural explanation. 2. Naval Cave, Romania. This cave has been sealed for 5.5 million years. The air is frozen, yet 33 new species live here, breathing sulfur. How did they get in? 3. D69 Road, Namibia. On this road, cars roll uphill. In neutral, locals say spirits pull them. Scientists tested it. They still can't tell you why. 4. Dry valleys, Antarctica. It hasn't rained here for 2 million years. No ice, no water, no life. It's the closest place to Mars. Right here on Earth. 5. Ijen Volcano, Indonesia. At night, this volcano bleeds through fire. It's not an optical illusion. Only 2 places on Earth have this phenomenon. The cause is still debated. 6. Nazca Lines, Peru. 2,000-year-old drawings in the desert. 370 meters long. Perfect shapes, but you can only see them from the sky. Who were they made for, and why? 7. Dragon Island, China. From above, this island is a perfect dragon. Every curve, every detail, it's a natural formation. But it's too perfect. Scientists call it a coincidence. Locals call it something else. Science has no answers, only questions. Which one will you Google for? There are places on Earth where some...
You could set your way for the whole planet by committing to something more. Which I have is this idea that one group of people have decided that they are the ones to save them. How dare you question us because we know what's right. I'm going to glue my hands to the tarmac and I'm going to be a martyr. I'm going to be a good I can't get on with the dirt. I'm more than twice married. You know, kids, I've got a job, I've got a mother. We have to get on with our lives. I can't afford an electric car. I can't afford it. But most people can't afford that. It's about ego. There's no doubt that we've had a winter without any protest, but as soon as the sun comes out, it's Eco Festival time. And it is a festival. Let's get on social media. Let's advertise to my friends what a great person I am. While the rest of the ordinary people who have to go to work can't get to work.
Here are 5 things that will happen in the universe after World War I. Over the next few hundred years, Jupiter's great red spot will disappear. It's just a massive storm raging in Jupiter's atmosphere, and it won't stick around forever. In 250 million years, all of Earth's continents will crash back together, forming another supercontinent named Pangaea Ultima, where Australia will be neighbors with China. America will be next to Africa, and Africa will collide with Europe and Asia. In 1 billion years, the sun's luminosity will increase so much that Earth's oceans will boil away, bringing an end to all life. In 100 trillion years, the universe will go completely dark, as all the stars burn out, with no new ones being born. And a few hundred trillion years after that, the first zombie galaxies will form, galaxies made entirely of black holes. And in about 10 trillion years, even the last black holes will evaporate through Hawking radiation, leaving behind a cold, nearly empty universe filled with only faint traces of it. Here are 5 things that will happen.
Sir?
Yeah.
Sir?
She's asking if you have any money in that fanny pack of yours.
Yeah, hey, holy crap, what did you rob a bank?
They took out half my pension, $15,000.
What? $100?
Guys, come on. I'm a weekend throw off prison. I don't know about you, but I'm not gonna lost out.
15,000 coming in.
I'll see you gentlemen later. Sam, what have you been?
I've been,
You gotta stop. You gotta stop. What? Why she? What? You lost? What?
I'm so sorry, guys.
It's just gonna stop. Stop.
I don't know what that's it.
Another best?
how much was that last night?
9,000.
You lost 9,000?
So how much do I have left?
Let me go. You started 15,000. Now you have 102,000, sir.
Okay, I'm done.
102,000?
That's enough.
Sir?
Yeah.
Sir? She's asking if you have any money in it.
Mrs. Wheeler, your boyfriend kind of just hit on me. Honey, you probably misunderstood him.
Hey, ready to roll?
Hey, Brad. This crazy idea that you hit on her.
What? I would never do that to you.
See? Something with hot, beautiful eyes. Any of this coming back to you?
I know what happened. You must have run into my brother, Pat. We're twins.
That just went off the charts.
I swear you have to believe me.
Oh, I will. All right, Bradley, cancel your plans. It looks like you and I are going on a double date tonight.
Hey, sorry I'm late. My brother is...
Oh, no. Let me guess. Medical
all the way suddenly?
No, Tad's just running a few minutes behind, and here he is now. He needs cab fare. I will be right back. Hey, sorry I'm late, and so nice to see you again.
Really? Glasses? Where is your brother?
He had a call. He said he'd be like 2 seconds. I'm just going to grab him.
You are just the lowest of the low.
Wait, I gotta explain that.
Is this just gonna be it? Mrs. Wheeler, your boyfriend.
Don't you think your hyperbolic statements undermine the quality? On February the 11th, 2026, you posted on Bluesky, quote, my words, or your words, not mine. The Democrats' video telling service members to ignore illegal orders didn't go far enough. They should have also urged them to refuse unethical orders, whether illegal or not. There are many things deemed legal that are.
There's a river on Earth so hot it can fatally burn animals. Deep in the Peruvian Amazon flows the Chimay Timbisco, also known as the Golden River. Some sections exceed 90 degrees Celsius, making the water hot enough to cause severe, often fatal burns. For years, many people outside the region believed it was only a legend. Even more surprising, there was no active volcano nearby. Instead, groundwater seeps deep underground, heats up naturally within the Earth's crust, and rises back to the surface through geological faults. It's one of the world's largest documented thermal rivers, proving that Earth still hides places that seem almost impossible. Follow to discover the hidden secrets of Earth and the universe.
In 1981, a Japanese ferry carrying 37 people sent a final radio message. The captain screamed that a massive cylindrical object had risen from the ocean and lifted the ship out of the water. Then silence. The ferry was found drifting. Everyone was gone. The Kisaragi was a coastal ferry making a routine crossing to the Izu Islands. The sea was calm. The sky was clear. 90 minutes into the voyage, the captain's voice burst through the radio. He described an enormous, perfectly smooth cylinder rising directly beneath the hull. The ship was being lifted, he said, elevated several feet above the waves. Then the transmission cut off. Hours later, a Coast Guard vessel found the Kisaragi drifting. There was no damage, no water inside the hull. The ship was completely dry. Inside, everything was frozen in time. Half-eaten meals sat on tables. A pot of tea was still warm. The ship's compass spun continuously counterclockwise and never stopped. But the 37 passengers and crew had vanished. No bodies, no signs of struggle. The Japanese Coast Guard classified the entire incident immediately. The manifest has never been released to the public. Families were told nothing. To this day, the names of those 37 souls remain secret. What lifted a ferry full of people into the air and erased them without a trace. The compass is stored in a government archive, and according to the janitor who saw it years later, it is still spinning. In 1981, a Japanese ferry carrying 37 people sent a final radio message. The captain screamed that a massive cylindrical object had risen from the ocean and lifted the ship out of the water. Then silence. The ferry was found drifting. Everyone was gone. The Kisaragi was a coastal ferry making a routine crossing to the Izu Islands. The sea was calm. The sky was clear. 90 minutes into the voyage, the captain's voice burst through the radio. He described an enormous, perfectly smooth cylinder rising to...
This woman kept catching her husband sneaking into a field for months, and one day she took a plane ride over the field and couldn't believe what she discovered. The behavior was unusual enough that Sarah Boyd couldn't stop thinking about it. She and her husband, Jesse, had been married for nearly 2 decades. Together, they were raising their daughters, Reagan and Avery, on a wheat farm outside of Kansas. Life followed a familiar rhythm. The sun came up, Jesse headed into the fields, and another day of farm work began. At least that's how it appeared. But as the months passed, Sarah noticed Jesse spending more and more time in one specific section of the farm. It wasn't wasn't just an occasional visit. He kept returning to the exact same place. The more she watched, the more curious she became. When she asked questions, Jesse never gave much away. His explanations sounded reasonable, but they never fully answered what he was actually doing out there. Soon, Sarah started teasing him about it. She joked that she might need a drone just to find out what secret project he was hiding in the middle of the wheat. Jesse would only smile, and then he'd head right back to the field. Weeks turned into months, and the mystery remained unsolved. Then came a surprise invitation. One day, Sarah was asked to take a flight in a small plane over the family farm. She assumed it would simply be a chance to enjoy the view from above. After all, she had spent years looking across the Kansas landscape from the ground. She had no idea that the answer to her husband's strange behavior was waiting thousands of feet below. As the plane climbed and began circling the property, Sarah looked down at the endless field stretching toward the horizon. Then she saw it. At first, she couldn't believe what she was looking at. Carved into the wheat itself was a massive message so large it was nearly impossible to recognize from the ground. The words stretched across the field in giant letters, Jesse plus Sarah. And beneath it, 20 years. Suddenly everything made sense. The long hour.
Oh, we got this new boss at work, and the guy thinks he's a real hot shot. Yesterday, when he walked into the office for the first time, he said, "Listen up, everybody. There's going to be a lot of changes around here, and if you guys can't get your act together, you're going to be let go. I can't afford to lose my job, so I made sure to keep myself really busy." Well, all morning, the guy was out walking around each and everybody's in our workspace, making sure everybody was doing everything they're supposed to do and staying focused. And towards the afternoon,
Thank you, the voice.
Three things found at the bottom of the ocean nobody can explain. The last one was recorded, not seen. Number 1, Yonaguni, Japan, 1986. A dive instructor found a stone structure 80 feet down in the dark. Sharp right angles, flat terraces, a staircase cut into rock, leading nowhere. Some geologists call it natural sandstone fracture. Others call it a sunken city 10,000 years old, older than the pyramids. No consensus, no excavation. It sits underwater, unclaimed. Number 2, Baltic Sea, Sweden, 2011. Sonar showed a 200-foot disc on the seafloor, straight lines that shouldn't exist in nature, a 26-foot circular shape cut into the top. Divers found rock that looked burnt. Electronics failed near it for reasons nobody could trace. Nobody has explained what it is or how it got there. Number 3, Pacific Ocean, 1997. A hydrophone array built to detect Soviet submarines picked up a sound, loud enough to register 3,000 miles away, too loud for anyone to know. NOAA labeled it the Bloop and filed it as unidentified. No source was ever recovered. It was heard once and never again. Three things found.
Flight JetBlue coming in now with 146 people on board. That's 140 passengers and 6 crew members, a pilot and a co-pilot up front.
All right, we're watching it now. It's coming in low and presumably slow now. It's probably crossing the 405 and approaching Sepulveda Boulevard and ultimately the airport. That's runway 25 left. That was the 405 freeway right there. We're getting close.
25 left, as Mark pointed out, the longest runway at LAX, the one they want to use for emergency landings if they can. And here it comes in now, this JetBlue flight 292 with the front nose gear pointed sideways. So far, it's still intact.
It's now slowing down as best he can. That's the tires burning out there. Best of all possible scenarios, it did not collapse. The chin gear, or the chin of the aircraft did not skid down the runway. It has come to a complete
point. JetBlue.
sitting still in space. It's racing through the universe at roughly 20 kilometers per second, covering nearly 7 billion kilometers every single year. But here's where it gets stranger. The sun isn't even moving independently. Our entire solar system is being dragged along as the Milky Way itself speeds toward the constellation Centaurus at an astonishing 60 to 100 kilometers per second. So what could possibly be pulling an entire galaxy with that much force? The answer is something astronomers call the Great Attractor, a massive gravitational anomaly hiding at the heart of the Laniakea supercluster, our home supercluster in the cosmic web. Its pull is so immense, it influences the motion of hundreds of millions of galaxies simultaneously. Galaxies from every direction across the cosmos are being slowly funneled toward it. And when galaxies eventually collide with something this powerful, it isn't a gentle merger, it's a complete structural transformation. The sun isn't sitting still in space. It's racing through the universe at roughly 20 kilometers per second, covering nearly 7 billion kilometers every single year. But here's where it gets stranger. The sun isn't even moving independently.
In 1907, a single room at this hotel cost more than most New Yorkers made in an entire month. It almost went bankrupt within the year. The Plaza Hotel opened on Fifth Avenue, facing Central Park, built to look like a French chateau, complete with gold-tipped turrets, a mansard roof, and a fleet of horse-drawn carriages waiting outside its doors. It cost $12 million to build, an almost unthinkable sum in 1907, and the opening night dinner alone cost more than most hotels made in a year. The Beatles stayed there in 1964 on their very first trip to America, and thousands of screaming fans surrounded the building for days. A children's book called Eloise, about a 6-year-old girl who lived at the plaza and caused chaos in every hallway, made the hotel famous to an entire generation who had never even been to New York. But by the 1970s, the hotel was aging and struggling to survive. In 1988, Donald Trump bought it for $400 million, calling it the Mona Lisa of hotels. Then, in 1995, after financial trouble, it was sold to a Saudi prince and a Filipino businessman for less than Trump had originally paid. The Plaza became one of the first hotels in America ever granted landmark status, specifically to prevent it from being torn down or gutted. Today, the Plaza Hotel still stands exactly where it opened in 1907. Turrets, chateau roofline and all. Follow for more insane history facts you didn't learn in school.
NASA has just released images of Mars.
How do you instantly appear attractive to someone?
Stay in these affirmations for 7 days and watch how your energy changes. I don't chase, I attract. What belongs to me will find me. My energy is rare. My presence is a privilege.
The greatest military machine in history deliberately left half its soldiers' legs unarmored. Not by mistake, not because they were poor. They did it on purpose, and it made them nearly unstoppable. Picture this. Ancient Rome, 3rd century BC. A Roman legionary stands before you. Bronze helmet, chainmail, a curved shield taller than a man, a short stabbing sword. He is the most feared soldier on earth. But look at his legs. Left leg fully armored in gleaming bronze. Right leg completely bare. To understand why, you have to understand what broke Rome first. For centuries, Rome copied the Greeks. Tight formations, long spears, full armor on both legs. It worked on the flat plains of Greece. But Italy isn't Greece. Italy is steep, forest, and full of tribes who have mastered these mountains and summits. In 321 BC, at a narrow pass called the Caudine Forks, an entire Roman army was trapped, surrounded, forced to surrender. Rome humiliated. So Rome did something no other ancient civilization did. They didn't blame the gods. They didn't demand revenge. They studied their enemy and threw away 400 years of military doctrine. They invented the Manipular Legion, small, flexible units, a checkerboard formation, able to split, reform, and fight on any terrain. And they built a new weapon, the Scutum, 4 feet tall, curved, 22 pounds of laminated wood and iron, not just a shield or weapon. Then came the stance, left leg forward, body angled like a boxer, the shield covering him from neck to ankle. His right leg stayed back hidden behind his own body, behind the shield, behind the entire fighting system. So Rome armored only what was exposed, the left leg, the leading leg, the one facing every incoming blade.
We never navigate the universe by building a faster rocket. The real solution may be to stop crossing the distance between stars and make that distance move around us. Einstein's equations contain a geometry that could carry a spacecraft faster than light could complete the same journey, without the spacecraft locally breaking the speed of light. Stay to the end, because warp drive appears to solve the greatest barrier to the stars, but its deepest limit is not energy. It is the possibility that reaching another star could also create a route into the past. Proxima Centauri is about 4.25 light-years away. At Voyager 1's speed of approximately 38,000 miles, or 61,000 kilometers per hour, crossing a comparable distance would require tens of thousands of years. Future propulsion could move far faster, but ordinary engines cannot remove relativity's limit. Matter cannot be locally accelerated.
What we know about comets now, the life cycle of comets, is it would be oversimplified to simply think of the nucleus of the comet as just one single unitary integrated mass. When we know that comet nuclei fragment into singular, and they create a situation where you've got multiple pieces forming a chain, like the lineage you make believe in line, one nucleus that's written into only one separate nuclei by the powerful gravity field of Jupiter. But there, we can go beyond it, because there is a hierarchy of phenomena that comets undergo through their life cycle. I've never broken down the 5 stages we've been talking about before, but I really make these again to help us understand the role of planet Earth.
¿Cómo dice? Yeah, that's not. That's the one.
In 1979, a remote Arctic radio station staffed by 4 Norwegian meteorologists went silent for 11 days. When a helicopter crew finally landed, they found a single dead polar bear inside the locked radio room. It had been shot 7 times. The 4 men were never found. These stations sat on the northern coast of 12 places you must visit before you leave this world. 1. A village swallowed by game. Every house, every street, hotel in China. 2. 3 lakes, 3 colors. They change overnight. Kelimutu, Indonesia. 3. A desert that blooms, but only once every few years. Atacama, Chile. 4. A hole in the ocean that inhales and exhales. Village Rock, USA. 5. Basalt columns marching into the sea, like a pipe organ. Hills Cave, Scotland. 6. A river that boils. No volcanoes, no heat source. Chinantipishka, Peru. 7. A road where cars roll uphill, in neutral. D69, Namibia. 8. An island born in 1963. No visitors allowed. Cersei, Iceland. 9. Sand that hums when the wind blows.
So here's the situation. We're left holding inventory that costs too much to sit on, so we're selling the nut.
Double glazed windows from the 19th century. How a fragile Swiss invention turned into a timeless Russian construction. High tech that saved our cities from ferocious frosts. Today we are used to plastic windows, but 130 years ago, something much cooler came into fashion. Falconier glass bricks. In 1886, a Swiss architect named Gustave Falconier came up with a stroke of genius. He decided to blow bricks out of glass by hand in the exact same way as ordinary bottles. But most importantly, they were hermetically sealed with hot glass. Upon cooling, the air inside contracted, creating a furnace effect. This air chamber perfectly retained heat and blocked out noise. At the World's Fair in Paris, the technology took gold. Europe was ecstatic. But the real construction boom began where it was least expected, in snow-covered Russia. Our harsh winters demanded extreme solutions. The empire's largest glass factories, including the famous Maltsov manufacturers, bought the license and launched production on a planetary scale. But simply copying the technology was not enough. To ensure that the glass walls could withstand temperature swings from +30 in the summer to -30 in the winter, Russian engineers changed everything. They developed unique, ultra-strong cement-lined mortars. The bricks bonded immovably, forming a monolithic glass shield. The result exceeded all expectations. Out of elegant hexagons in bottle green, amber, and delicate aquamarine colors, architects began to build massive facade walls. They erected them in the apartment buildings of St. Petersburg, at the factories of Moscow, in churches, and even in bathhouses. Such a wall diffused.
In 1929, every investor in New York pulled out of the biggest building project in history. Every single one, except one man. And he decided to fund it all, alone. It's 1929. The stock market has just crashed. The Great Depression has begun. John D. Rockefeller Jr. had already signed a lease on 3 city blocks in Midtown Manhattan. His original partner, the Metropolitan Opera, just walked away. He was left holding the most expensive piece of empty land in America. We had two choices: walk away and lose everything, or build the largest privately funded construction project the world had ever seen, alone, during the worst economic crisis in American history. He chose to build. Construction started in 1930. Over 75,000 workers were employed. Desperate Depression-era men who needed any work they could find. Workers excavated 1.5 million tons of debris. They used 88,000 tons of cement. They set 39 million bricks. Taylor and Francis on the Wales, Patricksburg Cathedral, and in 1932, 11 of those workers sat down to eat their lunch on a steel beam, 840 feet in the air. No harness, no net. That photograph, lunch atop a skyscraper, became one of the most famous images in history. But here's what nobody talks about. Beneath Rockefeller Center runs an entire secret underground city.
It's like my heart.
Why do sailors eat the deck every single day? Did it?
It seems that no one keeps saying it's hard to true.
My very first day in prison, my very first hour in prison, when the guard dropped me off in my cell, the only thing he said to me the whole time I was, checking in the process, was if somebody comes into your cell uninvited, that's an act of aggression. And I said, great, thank you. I've been here 40 minutes and one of mine is kicked off. Sure enough, as soon as he left, these two guys walked into my cell, just walked right in. One of them had a swastika and took up his entire neck and included all to his face. And the other one had "fuck you" tattooed on his eyelids.
Oh yeah, that's yeah.
And so I jump up, I go, what do you want? Because I thought, if I'm going down, I'm taking one of them down with me at least. What do you want? And the one with the swastika says, you the new guy? I go, yeah, so?
This is like a story from like the 1940s.
Imagine a boy born on the southern borders of the empire at the end of the 18th century, a noble family, brilliant.
Even if I'm dead, nobody will go upstairs.
Surprisingly, someone managed to break into the second floor of Elvis Presley's mansion. After Elvis passed away, his mansion was completely sealed off, and no one could enter. Years later, the mansion was open to the public, but one area remained off limits, the second floor. This area includes Elvis's bathroom and bedroom, and the bathroom is where Elvis passed away, right next to his master bedroom.
Even on September 6th,
Why does Jay Leno have $450 million, but not even a bed in his bedroom? The reason behind it is actually pretty heartwarming. Jay Leno, the legendary comedian and former Tonight Show host, has never been into luxury. He doesn't live in a massive mansion, just a simple, modest home. Most of his furniture is basic. And his most expensive item? The wooden desk that cost only a few $100. Even though he's famous for his love of cars, he doesn't buy flashy new models just to show off. Instead, he restores vintage classics himself and prefers driving old school rides. So, where does all his money go? Despite having a $450 million net worth, Leno has always been focused on giving back. He's donated millions to charities supporting education and...
In 1880, they built a luxury apartment building so far from New York City that people loved and called it the Dakota, after the remote territory out west. They were still laughing when every apartment sold before it was even finished. The Dakota opened in 1884, was 3 feet thick, hand-carved ceilings, 65 apartments, every single one completely unique. The same architect who designed the Plaza Hotel. Madonna tried to buy in, Cher tried, Billy Joel tried. The board rejected all. In 1968, Roman Polanski filmed Rosemary's Baby here. He didn't change anything about the building. He didn't need to, because the Dakota had been collecting dark stories since the day.
Det var en liten långsam hemsida.
Just to be clear, I take all money if I can do between 3 and 400 push-ups. 600 says no way, man. Ooh, nice. Let's see it. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. The thing. You said you were going to do between 3 and 400. You did 4 push-ups, bro. Sure. Between 3 and 400, right? Just to be clear, I take all the money.
Being of sound mind and in the presence of witnesses, I hereby bequeath my estate as follows. To my nephew, Ralph, I leave my yacht, the one I used to play with my father. To my niece, Winifred, who provided me with abundant personal comfort on that traumatic day when she fell under a train and caused me sizable distress when she survived. I leave the tin of green things. The one her Uncle Sidney still is. To my brother, Ronald, who frittered, nay, squandered every penny he managed to scrap, I leave the contents of my safe deposit box, the pass key of which is hidden under a stone somewhere on Canada. And finally, to my young wife, who, while we were married, slept with more men than an Eskimo's catfish supper. I leave the remainder of my estate on the condition that within 1 week of this reading, she woos and eventually marries the Ayatollah Khomeini. Failing this condition, the entire estate goes to the man who has helped me more than any other person in my life, my solicitor. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Being of sound mind and in the presence of witness.
Air tags will be obsolete. Most people don't know this, but it once rained on Earth for 2 million years straight. This was the Cardiac Pluvial episode. Back then, all continents were fused into one giant landmass called Pangaea, and the interior was a scorching desert. Then massive volcanoes erupted, pumping so much CO2 into the atmosphere that global temperatures spiked and the entire water cycle went into overdrive. Rain hammered the planet non-stop for what scientists estimate was 1 to 2 million years. Dry landscapes drowned, rivers rewrote themselves. Entire species were wiped out from the shore. And here's the twist. While most life collapsed, one group thrived in the chaos, dinosaurs. The flooding cleared the competition, opened new ecosystems, and let dinosaurs explode in diversity across every continent. We know this because geologists found matching layers of dark wet sediment buried inside ancient red desert rock, from England to the Himalayas to the US. The rain that ended the world. Most people don't. This is an absolute shame that Senator Hawley had to say this.
Can I just start with you? You testified a moment ago to Senator Butler that every child gets a Know Your Rights presentation. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Is that before or after you release them to labor traffickers?
Senator, every child that comes into our care gets a Know Your Rights presentation as well as...
Have you read these New York Times reports, these stories, the series of stories the New York Times has done on the children who are in your care? Have you read that children are scrubbing dishes, they are operating heavy machinery, they are delivering meals, they are harvesting coffee, they are working construction, they are working as housekeepers, they are working overnight shifts at plants where they are not paid, they are not going to school, they are not cared for, they are not getting meals, almost all of it illegally. Are you aware of that?
This is an absolute shame.
Gene Simmons loved 3 women in his life. Number 1, Cher. Rock Devil Meets Pop Queen in 1979. They even talked about marriage on the Mike Douglas show. But Gene cheated on her with Diana Ross after asking Cher for gift advice. They didn't fight. Cher even brought Diana to rehearsals. Classic rock chaos. Number 2, Diana Ross. They were together for about 4 years. In his memoir, Gene wrote about walking into her Connecticut home, drinking her coffee, eating her chocolate cake, and feeling at home for the first time. Diana had 3 daughters, and Gene started liking the idea of kids. A stage devil who chased women everywhere, suddenly imagining fatherhood in a living room full of laughter. But the relationship ended because he wasn't ready to leave his wild rock star life behind. Number 3, Shannon Tweed, former Playboy model and longtime partner. They met in 1983 and married in 2011. She never left his side. They have 2 kids, Nick and Sophie. Gene says she is the only one who made him want to settle down. Gene spent most of his life proving rock stars don't marry. In the end, he did. From Hollywood's wildest bachelor to a devoted husband, he went from chasing women to...
This is a perfect example of why Senator Kennedy is a national treasure.
President Biden, for the first time in this country's history, prosecuted a former president, a former opponent, who was his current opponent.
But again, it was the first time we did that. It was also the first time that something prompted us to do that. He ever said, and it turned out to be not completely true.
How about the people around President Biden who did studiously successfully the fact that he had no legitimate disease? Should they be prosecuted?
This is a perfect example.
But if
Babe, what happened? Babe. Just stay there. Oh my God. Where are you from, Parkway?
Mateo, is that you? My ex-boyfriend from college. Look at your clothes, all old and worn.
Why does every New Yorker suddenly hate this new vintage? And my wife's best friend got married, so we go tonight.
Aktuellt ikväll. Stödet till finsk hjältarena dras tillbaka efter anklagelser om vänskapskorruption inom politiska eliter.
Ymmärrän. Tähän ei näytä siis oikeasti varmasti hyvältä miettiä tällaista hämärää, mutta mä voin vakuuttaa, että ei ole.
Färre migranter söker sig till Europa över Medelhavet, men fler dör.
Man är nervös. Det låter jättebra med livsrummet. Det är en backskjut på det också. Det är ordning och resten. Det är perfekt.
Aktuellt besöker EUs gränsbevakare Frontex och hamnar mitt i en räddningsaktion. Spanska guldlandslaget har landat i Madrid och med det är VM. Fotbollsmässig och ekonomisk succé. Men fart, pengar, pengar. Välkomna till. Vi börjar med att Rysslands krig mot Ukraina. Medan Ryssland fortsätter sina attacker mot Kiev i veckan, en av de hittills mest kraftfulla, har Ukraina återigen svarat genom att attackera mål inne i Ryssland och i Moskva. Under natten och morgonen sköts över 400 drönare mot den ryska huvudstaden. Mål för attacken var bland annat en fabrik som tillverkar delar till ryska drönare och en oljedepå.
Det här är sånt som påverkar systemet. Men det är också indirekt den ryska opinionen, framförallt medelklassen i Moskva och Sankt Petersburg. Det är de enda som räknas i träning och de märker nu att de är krig.
Så ska vi till Finland där regeringen skakas av en misstänkt korruptionshärva. Det handlar om en arenabygd lovat statliga pengar. Men efter anklagelser om vänskapskorruption backar regeringen och drar tillbaka sitt politiska stöd.
Här ska byggas var Helsinki som lett till stora rubriker i Finland den senaste tiden. Arenan ska rymma omkring 20 000 åskådare. Misstanken om vänskapskorruption väcktes efter att projektet beviljades ett villkorligt statligt stöd på 35 miljoner euro, trots att finansministeriet tidigare sagt nej till en lånegaranti. Ordförande för projektet är Jan Vapaavuori, tidigare minister från Samlingspartiet och alltså partikamrat med statsministern.
Ymmärrän sen. Mutta tähän ei näytä siis oikeasti varmasti hyvältä ja moni miettii, että on tässä jotain hämärää, mutta mä voin vakuuttaa, että ei ole.
I dokument som flera finska medier tagit del av framgår att Vapaavuori bett statsministerns medarbetare att driva igenom miljonerna. Men enligt statsministern ska detta inte påverkat beslutet. Samtidigt säger Orpo idag att stödet dras tillbaka. Bland annat på grund av ändrade förutsättningar sedan beslutet förra året.
Ankelan viivästynyt. Sen rahoitus on epäselvä. Ja pidän hallituksen päätöksentekoon sekä minun toimintaani kohdistuvia vakavina. Ja siksi pidän tärkeänä, että oikeuskansleri selvittää tehdyt kantelut joutuisasti.
Misstanken har fått Finlands riksdag att avbryta sommaruppehållet och imorgon väntas en misstroendeomröstning mot regeringen.
Du har fått besök här i studion av Pirjo Auvinen. Du är politikreporter på finska Yle. Du är här på SVT nu i sommar på SVT Utisett. Men hur kan man tolka det här att stödet för arenan dras tillbaka?
Jag tror inte statsministern hade något alternativ. Det började komma nästan varje dag nya uppgifter om det här projektet. Jag tror inte att man skulle klara och förklara det här inför riksdagen.
Men vilken roll tror vi att statsministern själv har i den här?
Helt central. Helt central. Även om man även idag försöker säga att det här är regeringspartierna och 4 stycken tillsammans som har fattat beslutet. Men det är ju hans partikamrater som har gjort det här projektet. Så först har projektet gått nej från finansministeriets tjänstemän. Sen har den här väldigt duktiga, erfarna Jan Vapaavuori, statsministerns parti, börjat skickat mejl och börjat jobba i statsministerns kansli direkt. Och efter det här så fick hans projekt pengarna. Och att den här arenan, den skulle byggas av ett byggföretag som har för länge finansierat både statsministern direkt, alltså valfinansierat, och Samlingspartiet. Så det började lukta väldigt gott.
Ganska innoverande. Finland stoltserar med att de ligger väldigt högt upp på den här antikorruptionslistan. Alltså över länder som inte har någon större korruption. Vi ser ju här en lista där Danmark ligger etta, Finland ligger tvåa, Sverige kommer en bit ner. Vad ser det här? Är det på något sätt uppvaknande?
Nej, jag gjorde faktiskt en intervju för några år sedan och han sa att problemet är ju att vi till exempel i Finland, det är klart att de kräver efter det och vi ser inte den här korruptionen. Och Finland är ju väldigt litet, det säger att Finland är inget land, det är en klubb, så alla känner